AI has been the current trend in tech that's just completely taken over the world. Every single company that's out there is trying to get their hands on it just to be able to capitalize on the fact that if you just slap AI on your product, it literally starts printing money. And MSI, which is a popular gaming tech company, if you've ever built a computer or just know about computers in general, then you've probably heard about MSI. They announced that they're releasing a brand new monitor with AI built into it that straight up just lets you cheat in video games. It gives you an unfair advantage over the other players, and the worst part of it all is that they say that this thing, it can go undetected. Tech companies are just going full mask off and saying, you know what, guys, we don't really care about competitive integrity in video games. We just care that this one thing is gonna make us a lot of money. And seeing how they seem to be just perfectly okay with going to a trade show and presenting this piece of tech really just goes to show how little people think of when it comes to esports and competitive video games, right? Because if this thing were to happen in traditional sports, people would be freaking out. But because it's esports, they're just like, whatever, dude. You can see that they're really just not ashamed to go up to the players and go like, hey, buy this product that we're selling. It's gonna give you an unfair advantage over everyone else in this lobby, and nobody has to know. So how does this new monitor really work? The MSI MEG 321 URX, interesting name. That monitor comes with an onboard AI accelerator that can detect enemies in-game and overlay them on your screen, so, you know, it basically just gives you wall hacks. But the way that they say that this monitor works is that it doesn't really interact with the game itself, it doesn't dive into the game, it just sees the overlays that you have on your screen and just goes working based off of that. So they basically presented the monitor working on League of Legends, and the way that this thing works is that it keeps tracks of how enemies appear on the minimap and basically highlights them on the screen. So
in order for the AI to mark the enemy's location on the screen, it would have to first detect it in the minimap. So technically it's not cheating.
So if you're in the middle of some pretty intense gamer moments and you just can't keep track of this little dumb old mini-map on the side of the screen, well, now you don't have to because the monitor basically just does the work for you. And some people, rightfully so, are just pretty upset about the whole situation. They're up in arms because this sort of implementation that comes from a developer outside of the game devs, outside of what the game is intended to do, it really just turns into an arms race of who can have the better piece of tech instead of just who's better at the game. So it's not so much about skill, it's about what you're carrying. And if that sort of sounds familiar, it's because every single company that sells cheats and wall hacks and all that stuff, that's the thing that they go off of. You know, they're like, you don't need skill anymore, guys. You can just download this program. You're going to see your opponents before they even see you. Yeah, you're set. You don't have to worry about being good at the game. Just buy our product. And that's kind of like the feeling that we're kind of getting here. And it's not like the League of Legends game devs themselves are the ones coming out and going like, hey, yo, everyone, come here and check out these wall hacks. This is a completely third-party operation trying to integrate themselves into the games. And from what I understand, the AI that comes in this monitor doesn't come, you know, right off the box with wall hacks ready on every single game that's out there, right? You can't just boot it up and whoop, wall hacks on Call of Duty, on Team Fortress 2, on anything like that. It's something that you actually have to train for every specific game. And the way that they presented it in this whole expo was, hey, this is what it does in League of Legends. Imagine what it could do in competitive Call of Duty. You know, imagine how you can implement this into your competitive games. So according to this tweet from Dr. Lupo, he said that he saw this in person at CES. Can't do much yet. Once you train it, an MSI rep said, the best part is that it can't get you banned. When asked specifically about the competitive integrity implications of such a system in FPS games. So basically the MSI rep was like, hey, it doesn't matter if it's legal or not, man, it's gonna make us money. Like I've been saying this whole time, they really just don't give a crap about competitive integrity in video games because it's video games at the end of the day, you know, video games, who cares about that? Now this brings up a pretty interesting topic of what game companies want to do to combat this in the first place. If they want to combat it, you know, what can they do to slow down the rate in which players can just get their hands on this thing and just get into the game with cheats enabled? And interestingly enough, the answer to this whole situation might be something that Riot had a big stinker back in the day when Valorant first dropped regarding their anti-cheat and how deep it digs itself into your operating system. Because people back in the day were complaining that Riot's anti-cheat, the Vanguard system, would dig itself a little bit too deep and it could tell Riot everything about your computer basically, right? From the specs that your computer had to what keyboard and mouse you were using to what headset and yes, even what monitor you had plugged in. So it was a lot of data that was basically exposed and people were afraid that Riot was going to use this for data harvesting purposes, which maybe they do, maybe they don't, I don't know. But at the same time, it's also the one thing that can make a proper anti-cheat be able to detect this stuff like AI wall hacks on your monitors or whatever else comes next, which would be able to make this very brand new and very expensive piece of tech basically rendered useless with, you know, a small patch update. So going forward with video gaming, I think we're going to see a lot more invasive anti-cheats sort of just pop up out of nowhere, you know, with the promise that yes, you get all your data, then we can harvest it, but at least you'll be safe from hackers, right? So really just pick your poison here, people. And well, there's always going to be a group of hackers that's going to want to try to use AI to combat the anti-cheat system, so the anti-cheat system has to have an even better AI to detect that AI, and it really just becomes like an arms race of which AI can get better faster. So as far as the monitor that MSI announced, it's not really my cup of tea. I'm pretty sure it's not the cup of tea of a lot of people. A lot of people are very upset at this, and it's not like, or maybe they did, I don't know, but it's not like MSI just went over to League of Legends and were like, hey guys, can we present this monitor and can we just showcase the fact that it can help you play League of Legends better by giving you a competitive advantage over everyone else? And League of Legends was like, hell yeah, man, go ahead. I don't think that's how it went. You know, well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what becomes of this, whether it's just like something that's implemented as a norm and now everyone has to have one, or it's just something that just gets left behind in the dust, basically. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to talk with you guys today. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.